Hello and welcome to the next episode in this Aurora playthrough, where we're going to go through some of the more basic tutorial things to try and figure out how to play this game and play the game as we do it, so that should be some fun. So there are a few things that I want to do this episode, and the first thing I want to do is actually want to start a colony on Mars as well. And the main reasons for this is that it is close to Earth, which has been renamed Moose. And the main reasons for that is to try and get the population growth bonus from a new colony. And even though Mars has kind of some garbage minerals, we can still mine some. So there is some benefit there. But the bigger bonus is that you can see if I go on to Moose here, that we have all of these facilities. And some of these facilities, especially the financial centers, require people to run them. They require labor. And as I build more mines here and research facilities specifically and shipyards, I might actually run out of workers on my planet here, so I don't want that. So what's the long-term goal is to start a colony on Mars and then ship the financial centers over there and anything else that I don't want on my research and manufacturing planet, so I don't have to worry about that. It helps keep the micromanagement down a little bit, but what it also does do, it's also, I hope, will help give a kickstart to my civilian economy, because I want to use them, but they don't have enough ships for me to really use. So this should be really easy to set up. I have a ton of infrastructure here, and Mars is really close by, so I don't really have to worry. About the fuel situation, because I have something of a fuel situation here, which is a little bit unfortunate. So load installation, refuel and resupply. Mars, I have to click the create colony button first before I can unload installations, and then cycle moves, and that'll do it. And then we'll dump some people on Mars as well. I'm not going to dump a lot, just enough to get it going. Okay, so that's one thing I want to do. The other thing that I want to do, because the fuel situation is starting to get serious, I thought I would do some fuel harvesting from Jupiter to try and help kickstart a more healthy fuel situation. And so the way we're going to do this, we're going to have to design a whole new ship. I'm going to call it the Fuel Harvesters. Where are you? Okay, so we're going to new ship class. Very unimaginative naming convention here. And what makes this guy a fuel harvester is the thorium harvesting modules, which they don't seem to be here yet, because I may not have researched it yet. So quickly jump to here. I am actually researching it. It's up here. Research points remaining 87. So, you know, let's wait a day. And that should be research, so I'll do that. I didn't realize I was so close. $41. Okay, let's just wait this through. I think research only happens on a 5-day cycle, so we've researched it now. That was actually really lucky. I didn't realize we were so close to it. Okay, so fuel harvester. I think I have to close this and reopen it to refresh the technologies. And thorium harvester, this is the fuel harvesting module, so we're going to want a bunch of these. I'm going to check my shipyards to see how big I can make this, and I think I've got enough terraformers. Well, I mean, you never have enough terraformers, but let's target this shipyard. So 92,000 is the limit I can go. Okay, so let's design this to 92,000. Okay, so thorium harvesters are going to be the business end. And the more thorium harvesters you throw on this thing, the better it can do. It will need some engines. Now you can, if you are so inclined, you don't actually have to give these things engines. You can actually put stations and tag them there. That's an option. For me, that's a little bit too much micromanagement, so I will put on some engines. It definitely makes them more inefficient, but it's something I choose to live with. Right, so obviously, because it's making fuel, it will also need the capacity to store some fuel. Okay, so 1.5 million liters is probably enough. And it's also going to need refueling systems. If you don't put these things on the ship, you can't get fuel off of these things. So this is a really critical component. And it has a few other characteristics as well. The number of refueling systems will determine how many different ships it can refuel at a time. And look, 5 is probably more than enough. But just to keep in mind, this does limit how many ships you can refuel in one go. So I've probably got enough speed. So let's put on some more thorium harvesting modules, and let's get up to 92,000. Let's add another engine. Okay, one less thorium harvesting module. Okay, so this is going to be a fuel harvester. Let's just increase the deployment time. I know it doesn't matter. I just hated having 3 months. For me, that's just, it's not correct. Okay, so this should produce 1.6 million liters per annum. So this will help us with my fuel situation. Now, the idea is these are going to just sit at a plant for basically ever, and I will send tankers to ferry the fuel from the fuel harvesters back to Earth. So they're just going to sit there forever, fill up the fuel tanks, and have a tanker running back and forth. Okay, so going to have to select retool and fuel harvester, set activity, because it's the first assigned class. It will happen instantly, and then I can create build 3 at a time, so 3 slipways. And I want to build more terrace, but I don't really have the fuel to send them where they need to be, which is a problem. This shipyard needs to increase its capacity. Now I am aware I'm running low on uranium, which I also have to keep an eye on. Okay, so a few days have gone past, so I should have people on Mars. I have people on Mars, good. And okay, population supported by infrastructure. Okay, so that's enough. So I want to stop moving people. Let's just check if I have people on the colony boat. I don't, so they can go back home. And now I expect the civilian economy to move people back and forth. Let's put some more infrastructure on Mars. That's okay. But what I want to do is I do want to get some mines on Mars as well. They're not going to be efficient, really just to help kickstart the economy. So let's just add 10 mines. That's almost symbolic. And then increase the supply. Okay. And it's also a good idea to add a civilian administrator to Mars. And I want population growth. So actually everyone who has population growth has been assigned. So I guess I will take mining bonus next. And one of the reasons you want to do this is because it'll help them get practice and they'll develop an experience. Okay, so that's set up, and when my fuel harvesters have been built, I'll send it to Jupiter. But it is Gatas that is interesting. So we discovered the system and it has potential. We have these 2 planets. This Gatas A3, which the colony cost is very high, but it has a wealth of materials that definitely makes it worth pursuing. And it's got M3, so there will be more minerals on it than currently exist. And it's got all the corinium I could ever dream of. So even if I use automated mines here, it will work a treat. It is quite far away though, so I do have to bear that in mind, especially the fuel cost and getting things to it and back. And Gatas B also has potential, low colony cost, but also more potential for minerals. So we're going to have to figure out, we are going to have to do some ground surveys. Okay, so how do we do ground surveys? We need a ground survey team. Well, the first thing we need to do is design some ground units. So we go to Ground Forces tab on the colonies window, and we first have to create the basic structure. So while I am here, I'm also going to create some infantry, and you just give the name infantry, doesn't matter, create. I will need that for later. That's just while I'm here. So I want to get the geo survey equipment. Now it doesn't show up if you have infantry static selected. It has to be a medium vehicle. You may have heavy vehicles which can also do it. So you have medium vehicle, you select that, and then you select geo survey equipment, and then you just call it something, geo survey, and you create that. Okay, that's the first step. Now, as with all things in this game, we actually have to research these things in the ground unit combat. So geo survey is there, and we're just going to instant that, and infantry here as well, 6 research points, just instance it. It's not worth the bother. So now the units have been created, much like ship components. We have to put them into a formation. Oh, okay. So we click on here for new formation, and we have a geo survey. Let's just call it team. And then this is just a name, so you don't have to really worry very much. Geo survey team, abbreviation GS. There's nothing in it yet. So let's add the vehicles. I'm just going to add 2 because I want them to build very quickly. And if you put in too many, they can actually take a long time to build. So, okay, 3. So that's done. We have now a geo survey team, and we can now train and build it. So let's do that. So we go to Earth, and fortunately Earth starts with a geo training facilities 4, and they're all going to build geo survey teams. Okay, and now they're in training, and they're going to take till May next year to finish. And then once that's done, I can send them off to where they want to go. But I need a troop transport ship to get there, so back to the ship design. And we need a shipyard to build it, and that's going to be... Let's cancel this, because you... as a cancel delete activity. Okay, so we're going to build our troop transport with Shreffer Marine Shipyards, so 30,000, and that will be enough. So back to troop transport. Here we go. Okay, new ship class, rename Trooper. So what does this need? This needs troop transport bays. So let's throw a bunch on. We need some fuel storage, some standard. Let's just no, let's put some large on. Oh, we need some engines, and I think commercial will do. And this should do the trick. So this will be our troop transport, and yeah, it's only 14,000 tons, so that can easily be handled by this shipyard. So let's do that. Let's retool. The first one's free, Trooper, set activity, and create. Now, before I forget, we have a jump gate to Tetra, but not Gatas yet. So let's send a stabilizer boat. Well, let's refuel first, so you can make the journey for sure. And get working on stabilizing that jump point. Okay, and I think that's... So now I think we just need some time to pass for all of those activities that have queued up to occur. I just want to make sure that Earth is building all the things that I wanted to build, and it is. Let's just add an extra 1,000 in here. So I want to keep that infrastructure going, but I will reduce the percentage. And let me just add some more mines. Mines are more efficient, they're cheaper to build and use less resources. But their main drawback is I need people to mine them. But for the moment, there's actually enough minerals on Earth for me to be satisfied to be mining that. So using standard mines is a-okay for now. And with a bit of luck, oh, okay, what's happening here? One inactive research yard, so you can add an extra research facility to something. Let's add it to, You can also look at your bonuses to make sure that you start adding research facilities to guys who have lots of bonuses. So let's go to missiles and kinetic weapons. I will need a railgun at some point, so let's start that. And also, so the Gauss cannons is going to be what I'm going to primarily use for my point defense early on in the game. So let's just queue up some of these technologies. Okay, let's have a look at my event horizons. I think I'm going to delete 1 or 2 of them. You're on Earth, you're on Earth, you're stranded. I'm just going to delete you. I don't feel like dealing with the micromanagement. Okay, and let's have a look at my shipyard tasks. Everyone is doing something. And I do have a terraformer stranded in space without enough fuel to get anywhere. So when I board those tankers, I will use them to rescue that boat. Okay, so we've got turret tracking speed. I think use energy weapons. I'm not quite sure why turret tracking speed is in energy weapons, but it is. And I like turret tracking speed is actually very important for those point defense guns, which I depend on. You'll find out that the AI uses a lot of missiles, so you need a way to deal with them. And I just want to see the civilian economy is actually doing what I want it to be doing. And it's not. And I do want to get some mines on Mars. So let's do that. What are you on you? Okay, Mars. Unload the installations that you have. Go to Earth. Load installations. Just 1 chip of mines. Oh, I think I put it on cycle orders. So let's turn that off. Okay, they're currently carrying some mines. So, yep, they'll unload it and they'll... Yep, okay. And that should be fine. So let's have a look. So we already have 2 million people on Mars. The infrastructure supports 6 million, and we have 15 mines here. So it's mining some stuff. We should probably put a mass driver there. How many mass drivers do we have on Earth? Okay, so if I just want to tell it to pick up 1, you just select that number there, make it to 1, add move. So pick up 1 mass driver, unload it on Mars, return back to Earth, and you're done. Okay, so now we've got people on Mars, we've got a very small amount of mines, a mass driver, so we can tell it to shoot the stuff back at Earth. And this is really just to get the colony started. There's good accessibility of these minerals, and these aren't particularly critical. I'm just really trying to help get my civilian economy and my shipping lines developed, because I really want to use them. They help a lot when they get developed to move your stuff around. Let's have a look at the stabilizer. Are you working? Okay, so it's there, it's working, that's great. And let's have a look at our colony on the environment here, on texture. Oxygen is at 0.08. It's not breathable yet, but let's have a look at our race, because our race will tell us exactly how much oxygen we do need. Let's see if we can figure out how to get there. That's the aliens, well, not the aliens, that's metals. This is us. Okay, so it should be down here. Ideal oxygen pressure is 20% and maximum deviation is 10. So we have to get to 10% of an atmosphere before it becomes breathable. So we'll do that. And you can see that these civilian ships, they're shuttling colonists back and forth. Okay, so we have some research completed. Max tracking time bonus for missiles. My goodness, what were you researching? But I think we sensors and control. Yeah, I always want to keep this going because it's some really important tech in sensors and control. Let's get this is gravitational sensors, which we just always need. Okay, our geoserver teams have been trained. Let's have a look at our shipyard. So now we can just pick them up as we need them. Okay, our troop transport is nearly completed. So once that's completed, we might be able to send them to Gatas and get the mineral survey started. Oh, okay. So this is what I've been waiting for, a civilian mining operation. Now, what causes these to be established depends a lot on your racial wealth, which is one of the reasons why I don't want to get this down too low. So we can go to our system view, and now we see this Weldon Ores Limited, and this is one civilian mines. And this is the civilian industry, private industry. They did this all by themselves, and they're generally quite good about selecting locations where to build. So there's some options here. There's mining uranium, which we want, and gallicite, which is pretty meh for now. But we can tax them, and if we tax them, we get wealth. Or we can purchase these minerals and shoot them back to Earth, which we are going to do. So this is one additional way in which we can gain additional minerals. Now, the cost for purchasing the minerals depends only on the number of mines. So if there was a lot of minerals here, one mine would be much more efficient, but cost the same. So if the mines are producing a lot of what you want with high accessibility, then buy those resources. If they're just producing garbage on a garbage place, then tax them. That's the way that works. But I want to buy them, so we'll do that. Okay, Trooper 1 has been built, so I don't mind but stranding it in Gatas. I first want to get there. So Techa, 72 days. So let's just hang. Let's go to the jump point and hang around there until such time that it's stable. So to load troops, you select Moose, you select the planet that you want to go and load ground unit, and you have to select them one by one. I wonder if there is a quicker way. I hope there is. Now, I'm not sure if there's enough transport capacity in this boat to take them all, but I'll carry as many as I can. And I'll tell them to go through. It might not be ready. And yeah, then this boat will just have to wait in the Gata system until the other side is going to be completed. Fuel available. Hey, we've actually got some fuel. Now we can do some things. We can send this terraformer to help the terraforming fleet. Refuel. And we can send you to join and help Terra fleet, join fleet, and then that will just help. And we can also, let's not get too crazy, but let's refuel this event horizon and send it to Gatas as well to help survey what else is there. Event horizon 1. Let's try this again. I'm not quite sure why you. Okay, let's try this again. Maybe I did something stupid. Okay, so Triple One was unable to load the third geo survey team, so that means it probably loaded 1 and 2, which is fine. We'll send them through. Okay, and then the tripper goes, and will it be ready before it gets there? It's going to be close. It's going to be super close. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, so now we can send the stabilizer to stabilize the other side. And you don't necessarily want to stabilize every wormhole because you can you can expose yourself to enemies. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. So now we have to choose which ones we're going to put these teams on. And I'm much more likely to colonize B1, Gatta's B1, just because it has a lower colony cost. And then probably move on to the other one. So let's drop these guys on Gatta's B1. Trooper. Movement, Gatta's B1. Wait, where are you? No, I've set it the wrong boat. Gatta's B1. Unload all ground units. And then just chill at the jump point until such time it has been that it has been stabilized, and then we go through power and propulsion. We've got some better engines probably. Okay, yeah, this is an important tech. Capacitor recharge rate, that's an important tech for energy turrets and turrets. If you can get energy into them faster, then they can shoot faster. Power plant, yeah, that's also a good one. It's cheap. At some point, it's also worthwhile to just grab the cheap techs when you're around. And let's go for ion drive technology. That's just a better engine. Okay, and at some point, goes a new shipyard, which we also want to expand. Do we want to make more terraformers? I'd say yes. Shipyard tasks. Okay, and while we're here, let's check the environment on this colony. Oxygen is so nearly there. Hey, our fuel house is already. That's exciting. Okay, so these guys, you just send them to Jupiter. I checked there is thorium there. And they just orbit Jupiter and they'll collect thorium on their own, and that's all we're going to do. We should probably design a tanker. Shipyards, yeah, okay, I'm going to, yeah, let's design a tanker. Okay, I think I forgot to mention an important thing. Oh geez, I did forget to do an important thing. Let's have a look at these fuel harvesters, because they've got 100% fuel, right? That's absolutely not what we want. We don't want them to, because then they're going to go there and they're going to try and harvest fuel, but the tanks will be full, so that's no good. So what you actually need to do with these ships is, in the design interface, you need to actually select them as tanker up here. And what this means is minimum fuel capacity is set to 150,000. So whenever they transfer fuel to something, they will not transfer all the fuel. So we can now send these guys, Moose, because they're a tanker, we need to tell them to transfer fuel to colony. That option isn't there unless you're a tanker. So that's important. Transfer fuel to colony. Or rather, because they're a tanker, they won't transfer all the fuel, and then you can send them off to Jupiter. And then they'll go to Jupiter with 10% fuel in the tanks, which is what you want, because then they can start collecting some more fuel. So when you make our tanker, new ship class, and again, very imaginative naming, Tanker 1. Yeah, designated the tanker, and the only thing this really needs is, let's actually design some better commercial engines, because we can, and I think we have the technology now. Yes, improved nuclear pulse engine technology, that's what we want. And because it's a commercial engine, we have to go to 50% energy power at least. We can go lower, and bigger engines are just more efficient. So we're going to create that, and then we're going to go to the research screen and instance it. And if you want to be super efficient, you can design new engines as you get each new technology, but it's just an extra effort. So you can see this engine had 100 engine power, for a size of 25. This one is slightly better. Not heaps better, slightly better. In fact, is it even better? There really isn't all that much in it, but here we go. Okay, so obviously we're going to need some fuel storage. And we actually want to give it quite a lot because we might want to send this off to refuel things like Event Horizons and other ships. And we also very much need to give it a refueling system. Okay, and that should be fine. So we've designed this ship and we have a free shipyard. So this is going to be the first time where I'm going to retool a shipyard that has a class assigned. So you can see here that this is actually a task and it's going to actually take some time. So it's going to take until March of 2035. So it's going to take about 6 months, 5 months to be able to retool. So you don't actually want to do this more than you absolutely have to, but I'm quite confident I won't need more than one troop transport in a long time. So we can head back to Earth and we should see our fuel harvester fleet head towards Jupiter. And if we look at the fuel harvester fleet, you can see that 8% fuel in them, and this will steadily increase. Actually, you know what we want to do? We're going to want more of these fuel harvesters. Okay, and let's keep going. Let's progress some time. How are those ground forces doing? Okay, so our geoserver teams are on B1, and yeah, so we won't know what happens until I think we might get a notification in the event menu, but it's very, very easy to miss. So we're just going to have to periodically check. But at some point, this 4 is going to go away, and some more minerals is going to appear over here to tell us about what they find. But we don't actually see any messages as we go along. It's just going to happen at some point. So we just have to keep an eye on that. But let's have a look at our colony. We must be reaching the amount of oxygen that we're going to need to make it happy. So close. Hey, and our shipping line has expanded. It used to have 3 ships, it has now 4, and our fuel harvesters are collecting fuel as well, so that's grand. Okay. Okay, so our shipyard is sufficiently retooled, so now we can tell it to make a tanker. And then we can start ferrying fuel back from the fuel harvester to Earth. And okay, so we technically have enough oxygen now. It's still not breathing, and I think that's because it's a dangerous atmosphere. So we're gonna have to start removing this carbon dioxide. So you select the gas, and when you have a tick here, it's gonna add the gas to the atmosphere, but if you remove it, it's a bit unintuitive here, but now these terraformers are going to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere at the same rate as they were adding. So it's going to take quite some years. But once we've removed all this carbon dioxide, we should jump from an overall colony cost of 2 to 0.1, which will be pretty sweet. And then that plant will be very, very close to being self-sufficient in terms of not requiring infrastructure to live. Okay, so our stabilizer has finished his job, so we can send him back to Earth if he'll make it, and he might not. Orcs might have to rescue him with the tanker. Move to location, but it also means we can send our troop ship to collect those other geosurvey teams and send them back and we're going to put them on the other planet now to complete that survey mission. So I'm definitely, that's that tank is going to have some work to do. Event Horizon 1. Okay, you've got fuel. Send you back. Okay, we've completed our survey of Gathas B1, so that's cool. It didn't take that long. It's very, very easy to miss those messages, I found in my experience. So let's see what we have. Oh geez, really not much of an improvement. I think it was just that neutronium that we found. Yeah, so we got an extra 48,000 tons of neutronium with an accessibility of 0.1. It's pretty garbage, but in many ways it's free. So we can pick them up and send them to the next planet and see what else they can find. Hopefully they'll do. There'll be more potential. And you can see the civilian ships going back and forth, and they seem to be expanding, so that's good news. And we get these messages about Stabilizer 1 not having enough fuel. Okay, something happened. Okay, so we've got our tanker. Okay, so that's really cool. So let's try and see if we can rescue some of these ships. So, Stabilizer 1, where are you? So, I've always found this a little tricky, but we'll get there in the end. And you're here. Okay, so let's remove all orders. I found that's an important part of how this works. There might be a better way of doing it, and if you know, please let me know. But for the moment, let's detach our tanker. Now, our fuel harvesters here are at 100%. Okay, so there's a 4.5 million fuel over there. On Earth, we have 12 million. So our fuel situation is, we can actually start using our fuel more aggressively. But this tanker, where are you now? I lost you. Yeah, let's first refuel here. Refuel from colony. Let's just make sure it gets enough fuel to be able to go where it needs to go. Okay, 61%. That's quite a lot. Okay, that's certainly enough. So remove last. Okay, I just want to make sure it had enough to get to where it needs to go. So first thing first, select fleets, and I'm going to tell it to refuel. Refuel from stationary tankers. That's right. Now I'm going to tell it to join and refuel this target fleet, and it will do that, I think, probably, hopefully. But if the stabilizer fleet has another order, like go somewhere, I found it won't execute the go somewhere order because it has no fuel, and it won't execute that, and because it doesn't execute that, it won't progress to refuel. It's very annoying. I don't know if there's an easier way to go about it. Maybe there is, and if you do know, please let me know. But this will refuel the stabilizer. See that? Okay. Okay, 111 orbiting Gathas 3, so it's done its job. Okay, and because the ground units on Gathas B1 have finished their job, I can take them to Gathas A3. And this is just all you need to do. You just need to design the units, build the formation, and transport them, and then they'll execute what they need to do. Okay, hey. Okay, it says join the fleet. So now I think I need to progress a day or two. And now if I look at the stabilizer fleet, the stabilizer is all fueled up. That's what I want. So detach the tanker again. Stabilizer can make it to Earth. And now the tanker will do the same trick, except with our abandoned terraformer. Join and refuel target fleet in exactly the same way. Okay, and now we can send this terraformer to help terraform our colony. And let's check our fuel harvesters. Need to. Okay, so let's put the tanker actually on loop orders for a while. It might be overkill. I think we might be able to put a delay in. So let's see if we can sort that out. So fleet, let's go to the fuel harvester fleet, refuel from stationary tankers, and then we're going to tell it to go and then transfer the fuel to Earth, okay, or Moose. And then I actually want to add in a delay. I know there is a way to do it, but I can't. It's definitely, like, I just wanted to tell it to sit and wait for a little bit. I'm sure there is a way, but I don't see it right now. Okay, let's leave it at that. So it will. So the harvesters at Jupiter are going to harvest the fuel. The tank is going to come and collect it and bring it back to Earth. And the reason you want to do this is that you don't want to. The fuel harvesters are really, really big, so you don't actually want them to be moving about. You kind of want them to be stationary, which means they could be physical stations and you can tug them about with tugs. But I put engines on them, fly them there, not very quickly, and then just use a tanker to ferry them back and forth. Hey, we finally got 2 shipment lines. That's really cool. So now things might actually start happening. They might actually start transferring the things I want them to transfer. Not not to touch it yet, but they're starting to transfer the mines I told them to transfer to Mars. That's cool. So Mars is growing. Yeah, and things are starting to really develop now. Okay, so we've got some more fuel harvesters. So that means the back and forth nature is going to the tanker going back and forth might be less redundant now, and you can just tell him to join the fuel harvesting fleet and they'll happily help that fuel situation. And let's put another 3, keep these shipyards in business. You really can't have enough fuel or too much. Okay. Yeah, things are going pretty good. Construction factory. I just always want to keep making construction factories. The more construction factories you have, then the faster you build the next new things. It's kind of like investing in your future economy. Okay, I actually do want more than 1 tanker. I actually do. I wonder if it's worth. I mean, what I'm really wondering is, can these haulers make it to Gatas? I guess there's one way to find out, and if they do get stranded, we can send the tanker to help them out. The colony ships almost certainly won't be able to. Let's wait for the next tanker, and when we have a next tanker, then we can be more aggressive with worrying about stranding ships about. Okay. Okay, GEV1. Okay. So let's send you back to Gatas, and you too. Let's fully explore. Let's fully explore our systems. And let's say come back at 40%, I think. That might be safe. Oh jeez, this is annoying sometimes. Okay. That should do the trick. That should get them to get us to start surveying the facility. Fantastic. Stabilizer 1 has made it back to Earth. Okay, let's just check on the tank and see how much fuel he's carrying. Yeah. I don't think these guys are harvesting fuel fast enough to warrant this tanker flying back and forth the whole time. So let's just give you a rest for the moment, because flying back and forth is also going to consume fuel. Okay, so the ground survey team on Gatas 3 is completed, and we found, oh my goodness me, 119 million tons of gallusite. So that's a find worth finding. Let's check the accessibility. Okay, very low accessibility, but massive mineral find. So that definitely makes this plant more attractive. So I think we're definitely going to colonize the Gatas system. It's worth having. Okay, so we've fully surveyed the Gatas system, and we can also see if there are colonies, I mean comets or asteroids, worth mining too. Nope, they're not. That's unfortunate. And okay, let's have a look at how our terraforming is going. So yeah, we're removing carbon dioxide, and you'll get this soon enough. Let's have a look at your civilian economy. Do you have? Yeah, how our civilian economy isn't transporting things to Tetra yet, but it will soon. It will soon. So just, they will grow. Okay, so things are like really developing. We're already growing our colonies now. Our civilian economy is setting up. We've got our first civilian mining colony, and I think, oh my goodness, look at them go. What? So they're taking something to Tetra, and if we, so they display the next order here, but if I actually go to Tetra and wait for them to arrive, that'll tell us exactly what they're doing. Okay, they're unloading colonists. Come on, where's the next one? Okay, the unloading infrastructure installations. Okay, so I think we're going to call this episode here to an end. We've just got our second tanker. So with that tanker, that's going to give our haulers and colony ships extra range to make it to Gatas. And I think it's worthwhile where we actually design new haulers and colony ships to allow for greater duration and fuel efficiency. Because we don't actually want to rely on the civilian economy for everything. And then with that, we should start to have a fairly wealthy, we'll already start, oh gee, yeah, start with the industries. And Chimyuk, the corundium is very nearly running out. So we've only got about 4 more years worth of production, 3. So we can actually really start thinking about moving those automated mines to the next best option. Corundum is always going to be, it feels like Corundum is going to be a problem for quite some time. I know I've got 31,000 here, but most of my production, or a lot of it, is going to be producing mines and automated mines. So I remember there being another comet in Earth that has a lot of corundum potential. And earlier in the game I had bigger fuel issues, but now I think I can start thinking about Callisto. Oh yeah, 0.1 accessibility, that's why I wasn't interested. Gong Gong. Yeah, so when Chimyuk is completed, I'll move the automated mines to Gong Gong to get that corundum. And the reason was, it's actually quite a long distance. So my haulers aren't really apt for the job, and there wasn't the fuel for them. So I'll design new and better haulers with better engine technologies to do that, and also colonize Gatas and really focus on developing my economy. And yeah, also definitely going to design better and more fuel efficient survey ships, which will allow me to explore the galaxy a little bit more efficiently and better and more effectively. And yeah, hopefully at some point we're going to find some aliens which we can then murder. That'll be the fun part. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you enjoyed the series. Yeah, thanks for watching.